Oh, here, this is where it needs to start.
I just started.
Yeah, plug it out, there's no need to go, let's do some old things.
Yeah, most of the stuff.
If you go with that, it's.
Yeah, I'm learning to do stuff or whatever else. Like it's a slide or whatever. As long as it's not a pile, you know, like since
I'm the true Harry practice.
So.
Somebody was on your like you said.
That's good.
It says it's recorded.
Damn.
That is supposed to go there.
Damn.
Thank you. Love your
This appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good, yeah, I'm just,
Okay.
you kind of.
Well, you know, you've got all speakers trying to guess that. Yeah, sure. Oh, how long have you been for them?
Well, this wasn't a lot of them, but we depends.
Okay.
How's it going? I was just wondering, can I get those slides by chance?
Okay, so if you Google like this, like besides San Francisco, there should be a online presentation, online version of this flow, which you can just watch with all the slides there.
Right. It's been like any like platforms where I can like practice like fingerprinting, so I can get like a better like feel for it.
Okay, so that's why we're doing the workshop. Like, there's no sound there's no, to my knowledge, there's nothing that you just like hack the boxes right away, or you just go and do this. Unfortunately, that's why we do those workshops online. You always do it like as a follow-up. So like during those 2 or 3 hours, you will have the VM set up. You can just log in and go through the whole thing for yourself, and then you can just like do the home lab stuff.
Yeah.
Because like once you like it's very simple. You just go like Beyond FP is open source. Beyond is open source. You just install them and you do the client server setup. You can like, for example, if you have public IP address at your home,
Right.
you can just address verify, install POF, Beyond FP, Zeek, and then start downloading all the logs and see for yourself. Like, but yes, sorry, like there's.
No, man, no problem. Whatever. I'm just just trying to like learn like everybody else. But thank you for today. Thank you for
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Either.
Can you share the pictures? You then would it be possible?
I was actually going to ask you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
Send it to.
You definitely able possible. If you prefer to call fine.
Oh, really? I don't have WhatsApp, so that's why
Fine.
yes, I don't have WhatsApp. I have Signal.
Yes, that's something else.
Signal is the one that's not sharing the data with anybody. Yes,
Yes.
it's US non-profit, but it is right now it's strictly. So
Okay,
I will trust it.
but yeah, I was on this before.
Yeah, but actually, it's an iPhone. I mean, this select all 3,000 pictures count.
There's 3,000.
Okay, so you're not like me, okay. And I think that's. So, well, photos. Yep.
You got it?
Let me. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Vlad, when I tried to Gmail you those photos?
Yeah.
Google actually flagged them,
Oh, what?
and I sent them via my Yahoo instead, and they went through well. So
Wow. And what like?
I'll show you what the error looked like. It was very strange. Message blocked.
Wait, you sent it from personal email, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, I don't, we had so much spam and so much phishing attempts, I just blocked all three, like, I blocked Gmail, Outlook, everything. Like,
So did my Yahoo one go through?
yeah, okay, Yahoo, I forgot.
Okay, so that one went through.
Yeah, that's why
Okay.
I idea here is like just to block all personal emails at this point. Like we get so much phishing attempts and stuff, so I'm like
Not used to it.
no
biggie.
if it's easier just to block domain, I'm sorry, like somebody can find me on LinkedIn. You can probably have my phone number, like you will find a way to reach me
No, getting set up.
if you know me.
So I do have an EDU email.
I'm good.
Oh yeah,
But,
this will went through, this will just work.
Okay.
Yahoo one went through.
Yeah, Yahoo, I forgot it. Maybe what else is there? The AOL.
AOL.
AOL. AOL. I need to block AOL.
Have you been to a Micro Center yet?
No, I have been to Fry's. I have been to Fry's Electronics.
Oh, okay.
Before they went bankrupt.
Since your flight is in Miami, I would check out Micro Center in Miami.
No, my wallet. Disagrees. Because otherwise they're like, that would be cool. That would be cool. Oh, I know. The reason like I live where I live is because we had the largest retailer of PC parts like 2 blocks from my apartment.
Okay.
So it was one of the huge contributors why I live there.
Oh,
Where I live there because it was like I can like because they had 24/7 the window where you can just order online and you can pick up 24/7.
Awesome.
So and
That's
after COVID, it's that.
CISSP.
Yeah.
Or IS.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah.
Hey, like,
You still carry the HC? Yeah, it's still valid for me.
yeah.
Can't get it.
Right,
I'm,
right.
I'm, what is it, emeritus for it.
Yeah, I had it, but I dropped it a while back.
No, I mean, I'm actually kind of pissed I dropped it because it was absurd.
Yeah, what was that?
There's no equivalent
Yeah,
out there, which
I can tell you stories about that, sir,
really,
afterwards, because I worked for IC Squared when we launched it,
uh,
and
well, when they launched it, and I just went and got the book and read it. You know, a couple of times, I went and took it and passed it. Of course, at that time, I was doing different risk assessments and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff, and so the only thing that was kind of tricky was, talk about the foreign regulation, but I was like, I don't give a about that, I got it, and I looked around, and I'll talk a little bit about the semi-equivalence and, interpretation. So it's now time, so let me start. My name is Michael Brown. This is a presentation on certifications. Curious, show of hands, how many people here have no certifications? Okay, 1 or 2. Okay, 3 or 4. 5 or more. Okay. So this is presentation more for the people who have either none or very few, but you got several, maybe you'll pick up something from this. I've been doing this presentation for several years. I want to do this every, it's not going to be I'm doing this 2 or 3 times a year. And I find I actually have to keep this damn thing up to date because things are always changing. So when I say 2025 update, I'm not joking. This is actually Q4 2025 update because I've had to, make changes over the last month or so. I've already been asked. I already know I'm going to be presenting this next year in Q1 next year and probably some other time. So, and I hate to be a jerk about it, but because I've got an hour or so to cover a lot of stuff, I kind of asked if people wait to the end for any questions, because most likely, if I've done this enough times, I will probably answer your question. So most likely, if you ask me, like, I'm about to get to that. So, not to be a jerk about it. So yes, I have certifications, which is why I do this, because people say like, oh, you wonder about certs, go talk to Michael. Anyway. That's what my contact information, LinkedIn, want to link to connect to me, Twitter. I'm usually good at connecting to people who I know are in the local area versus some random weirdo from India. So bio, I'm actually from Southwest Florida. I was born in Naples, lived there most of my life. I actually got an associate degree here at what was then called Edison Community College. And when I was here, half the campus was a USF sub-campus. I then went to Florida Atlantic, got my master's and bachelor's degree, worked at a variety of companies over there, a little company called IBM, another little company called Motorola for many, many years. So I've been over in South Florida. I tried a few times to find a job back here. It's never happened. And so be it, moving on. Been a consultant. I'm currently now a CISO data, it's called a data privacy officer, compliance officer for a small company in Sunrise. I'm of course active in the software ISACA chapter. I've been involved in InfoGuard, ISACA. I'm an ISC2 member due to I have my certifications with them. I'm probably considered a SANS member, and so forth. So I'm really knowledgeable about frameworks and standards and regulations. So I got a lot of presentations I do, and I speak at various groups in Florida. So my cert, this was more organized to show you the different certification bodies I have certifications with. That's not meant to be a brag. I'm very adamant that just because I have certs that people don't, that doesn't make me a better person than they are. And I really despise any InfoSec professional who thinks that, if they've got cert that they're, pardon my French, shit doesn't stink. Not the way it works. So basic agenda, we're gonna talk about, kind of three basic parts. I'm gonna talk about certifications, how they work. Let's see how, a lot of confusion about this. We'll get into what I consider the five main certification bodies. And then there are other certs out there and other orgs, and I want to make sure you at least have heard about them. And when I cover that, then one thing people talk about, ask me a lot, be like, ooh, what should I get? So I'll give you some basic advice on that. I'm here for the rest of the conference, so if you have further questions afterwards, don't have problems answering it. So, disclaimer, these are my opinions. Doesn't really affect anyone else, any other orgs, okay? I focus on vendor neutral certs, and unfortunately, I've become this, okay? I've been in the industry for 20 years. I am more than happy to share my knowledge and my experiences with people. What I don't care for is stupid people, that just don't want to learn, don't want to understand. If you don't know something, that's not being stupid. Okay, there's a difference. Some people don't get that. Anyway, another aspect I've learned in looking at certifications is, and I'll talk about things broadly, they're like, oh, certifications do this, and they do that, and they do this, and what I found is like, but there's, this group, oh, they do this way. Oh, over here, this group do it this way. Understand that everything I talk about, there's probably going to be an exception. And I don't have the time to keep pointing out all the exceptions. I think I'm safe in saying that there's probably one thing that everyone does is they now all do computer-based testing. There are no more paper-based testing for certifications. Fairly certain I'm safe at saying that. Because some of my certs I got by doing a paper test. Okay. Now I need to be, again, a real jerk and dispel some myths that are constant, driving at the wall, but we have to be clear on this. No cert's going to get you a job. Sorry to break it to you. And they certainly will not get you a high-paying job. If there is some magical certification that will do this, I have not found it. I have never gotten any of my jobs solely because of my certifications. So please get over that. At best, and this is why you do it, but people get them, is they will help you get an interview. By that, I mean that despite what people seem to think that, oh, we have this skills gap, every time a job pops up, don't assume that, oh, they're only going to get a few applications. No, they get a shit ton of applications. And the HR people who don't know jack about our field have to deal with this ton of applications. And what are they going to do to weed them out? Oh, these people don't have certifications. Don't have to worry about those. These are the ones that do. Okay, we'll take a look at that. And that's kind of how it works. Even if the hiring manager says, oh, I would kind of prefer they have certifications, the HR person hears preference and turn that into required. And I can tell you from experience, that is exactly what I've seen. And more companies are doing that. Okay, so I encourage people to get certs, more help them get past the freaking HR gatekeepers to get themselves in front of the hire manager. But at that point, the certs ain't gonna get you the job. You and your skills and knowledge and experience are what's gonna get you that job. Can't help you, yeah. And despite what some people think, I don't see this going away. In some areas, employees may be required to have certain certifications. I have seen this in areas such as IT auditing, where they expect them to have a CISA certification. Or they'll be told, oh, we're hiring you to be an IT auditor. You don't have the CISA. You've got X number of whatever to get the CISA, otherwise we'll let you go. So, and I've had people who work in that field have told me that. In other areas, like when I was a consultant, my company used the fact that we had certifications, in most cases it was me, as a selling point to their client. Hey, we have people who have this and this and this certification. Of course, I would look at the list and be like, that's me, that's me, that's me, you know, as in I'm the only one to know that you're listing. Also, I warn people, you may not need it for this job, but you may need it for the next job. You know, whereas, yes, experience is vital, but again, companies are using certification lack thereof to hire. You know, so even if you have the experience, they're gonna like, oh, you don't have the cert, yeah, we're not gonna talk to you. Again, I need to make clear on something. I hear this a lot. Certificates and certifications, they're not the same. Please stop confusing them. And when I say certificates, I don't mean certificate of appreciation or certificate of attendance. I have a stack of those at home. I'm certainly not talking about what you can earn at a college or university, which we now call undergraduate certificates or graduate certificates, which are a step below a degree. The certificates here I'm talking about, like, oh, I go and take this class, maybe it's a 2-hour class, maybe it's a 2-day class, and at the end, I take this little test, and oh, here you go, your certificate of completion of this thing. That's all well and good. Those are not certificates and aren't at the same level. There's very few certificates that are as respected as a certification. Certifications are different. Some of them, the better ones, require experience, not just passing a test to earn them. They expire after either every year, every 3 or 4 years, which throws a lot of people off. My degree doesn't expire. Why does my certification expire? Because that's how they work. The tests are proctored, as in someone's going to be watching you take the test to make sure you do not cheat. That's always so much fun. They may require you to retest to re-earn it, or do continuing education. It may vary. You're going to have to pay an annual fee, which again throws people off. I'll talk more about that later. And they get updated. And that's how certifications operate. I bring this up because I see people ask this, they get real confused. Why? And the why is this. ISO IEC 17024. This is an international standard certification for certifications. Most of my certifications are 17024 certified. And in fact, they even put that little label on the certificate for my certification to say so. This is an international standard that has set down certain standards for certifications that gets followed. Now, some of the, you might not care about, some of them are pretty important because they kind of affect how they work. One big thing is they want organizations to separate testing and training. Testing and training are done by separate groups of people. And this, again, kind of throws people off. That means that the group that creates the testing material, including the practice exams, are not the people who create the actual exam. Because I've seen people do that. Oh, I went and studied and went through all the practice exams, and then I went and took the test, and none of the questions were like on the practice exams. Yeah, because they're created by 2 separate different people. Yeah, there's no connection. Further, what a lot of these groups are do is they'll create what's called a BOK or a CBK. That's body of knowledge or common body of knowledge. And what happens is that that might be a book, it might be an outline, and so they test to that CBK and they train that CBK. So a lot of the organizations, they set down, this is what we feel is the standard, how you should be doing this work. We're going to teach you this in our training material, and then we're going to test you against it. They also kind of feel, again, they require for it to be updated, they require retesting and reevaluating and so forth. And the reason this is that we're a profession, not a hobby or this sort of stuff. And this is very standard in professional fields. You know, if you want to work in the financial world, if you want to work in legal, and you work in medicine, guess what? It's the same way. This is kind of a new slide that I've seen it too many times. Are certs versus degrees? Are certs equivalent to degrees? No, please. Are certs to replace degrees? No, I'm not saying that happening. If there's an equivalency, what I see is think of a cert more as equivalent to a class you would take for your degree. And a good example is look at the SANS Educational Institute, which you take the SANS courses and pass the certifications. Those are your classes you use to earn that degree. So that's the equivalency. Also should need to point out is passing the test doesn't always get you the cert. Yes, for many, yeah, you pass the test, cool, you got the cert. But others, but the ones that require you to have experience, passing the test doesn't get you the certification. And what you have to be careful of is it's going to take some time. I mean, I've done this with ISACA and ISC2. Did my stuff, send in the paperwork, and then I got to wait several weeks for them to finally process it. I'm like, okay, how long is it going to take? So it's going to take several weeks. What you have to be careful of is you cannot give the incorrect impression that you have the cert when you do not. Again, you have to be very careful. The certification bodies do not like that. So you pass the test, don't put on your resume that you got the cert. Be very, very careful about that. You can go online and say, I passed, cool. But don't say that you got the cert until you get that email saying like, you got the certification, you're good. You will get in trouble with the certification bodies. So and also some groups will do what they call associate status. It may vary again. Everyone is a little different. So some trends I've been seeing. Most certs are a test of knowledge. The typical, here's a question, here's 4 answers, pick what you think is the best one. Well, but I'm seeing more and more skills based. We give you kind of like this simulated environment and do some activities to show us that you know what you're doing. And I think that's going to be increasing because people feel that's a better test of knowledge than pick one of 4 possible answers. I do see more what I call stackable certs. That's where like you get this cert and this cert and this cert, and then you get like a super cert. Most of them I'm like, whatever. There's only a few that I think are cool. Licensing. I do hear people talk about, hey, cybersecurity is important. We should license them. Don't just let any Yahoo be a cybersecurity professional unless they're licensed by the government. Hasn't happened yet. I'm a little leery about it, but I'll be honest. Having earned licenses, certifications will operate the same way. The only difference is it's mandated by the government. But I really don't like it because to me that just creates a barrier for entry. Be aware. I bring that up and people are like, I've never heard that. Yeah, because you need to get out of your little bubble and listen to these people around the world. Studying and preparing, I always tell people, study, prepare. There's a lot of options. They may not always be available. You can take a class online or in person. You can get a book. You can, do videos online, whatever. One thing I do always emphasize is making use of practice exams or sample questions and exams. That gets you into understanding the kind of questions you'll get, and you know, that, but the thing is, you need to be focusing on learning and understanding, not, oh, I gotta memorize the questions. You know, that's why I'm very much against what are using what are called dumps of actual test questions. One, it's a violation of the ethics. When you go and take that certification and you promise you will not share the question that you saw on that exam. And unfortunately, that's a trend in certain parts of the world where they seem to want to get dumps and I guess memorize the questions and go and pass the exams. And it's like, that's not what this is about. There's also a trend in certain part of the world of sending fake people in your place to take the exam too. Wish that wasn't true, but that is. Testing, as I said, it's all computer based. You may have to go to a testing center. Some will allow remote testing, but it varies. Let me tell you, if you've never gone to a testing center to take a test, it is an experience. You will only go take into the examination room your ID, and that is it. You will have nothing in your pockets. You will leave your phone behind. You will leave your keys behind. Please don't bring a big ass purse because you're going to leave it in a locker. You know, you'll give a key for your locker. Do not bring paper and pencil. They will provide you something to take notes with. I've actually been told to take this off at the time of testing centers. I've had to turn out my pockets. I've had to pull up my pant legs so that you can make sure that I have nothing stuffed in my socks. I had been wanded at one center with a metal wander. That is what it's like. It's when you do the test, it is a timed test. The timer does not stop. Would you like to get up and go take a bathroom break? Yes, you can do so. Guess what? The timer does not stop. If you want to do a remote testing, remote proctoring, please understand that you want to be in a room that is clear of everything, because you will have to either you with your phone or your laptop and show them everything in the room and make sure that you don't have anything that, you know, it's not fun. I have done remote proctoring. I would recommend you do that in like a very clean meeting room at your office that has it's a good network connection, because guess what? If you have a problem with the networking, sorry, you're SOL. Most tests are what are called linear tests, i.e. you keep going forward, there is no going back. So be aware of that. There's also a bigger trend of what is called computer adaptive training. How does that work? Instead of the old days where you had, 150 questions are all the same value, now the questions have different values. And so you might be going along, you might be doing really good. They'll give you harder questions. And if you keep on doing well, then instead of doing 150, they might say, oh, well, because of the number of questions you did and they were higher value, you're now done after only doing 50 questions. But if you go along and you're not doing too well, they'll give you easier questions, and because they're basically scoring you as you go along, and you might go along, they're like, oh, the question's over, you failed. That's that. So be aware of that. Another thing, I don't know if I said, oh yeah. Please don't get worked up about scoring. No one freaking cares about your score. There's only one thing you have to want to worry about. Did you pass? That's it. Don't worry about the scoring. I'll be honest, if some tests they won't give you the score. I passed my CISSP. I have no idea what my score is. My ISACA test, I know what the score is, but I couldn't tell you what the hell that means because it wasn't scored in a 1 to 100%, 1 to 100. It was like, oh, I got like a 325 on one, and one was a 400. I have no idea what that means. So, CE, again, continuing, this is important. Again, we are a technical field. You should be doing continuing education. Of course, all of you are doing the right thing. You came to this conference. If you have coworkers or colleagues or fellow students that are out here, guess what? You are way ahead of the game compared to them because you're here learning. Certifications require you to do continuing education. They call it CPEs, CPDUs, CEUs. It basically works out as 1 hour is 1 point. You're required to have so many points per year, typically 20 to 40 per year. Okay. How much will vary by the certification of the organization. Again, you need to check with the different bodies. Like as I saw on my list, I have certs from 4 different bodies. Most of them are similar, but some are very different. Okay, so that's one thing that is tricky. However, the next thing is important. Oftentimes, the same activity can be used for multiple certifications with multiple organizations. Guess what? Here I am at this conference. I'm going to apply the CPEs for beginning of B-side Southwest Florida for every one of my certifications. Okay, simple as that. That's how it works. Keep proof you will be audited. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Here's another little trick. Guess what? I'm getting more CPEs than all of you. You know why? I'm teaching in class, so I get more. That's how it works too. So keep that in mind. Certification bodies will actually give you one. They will give you more certifications for creating a presentation and for presenting a presentation. Of course, unfortunately, I've already created this, so I already got those. But I present this again because so guess what? I get more. So keep that in mind. What will they accept? Conferences, seminars, workshops. Cool. Training. So if I got a certification and I go to get training to get another certification, guess what? I can use that training for CPEs. If I get another certification, some boards, not all, will give me more CPEs for earning another certification. If I go to any professional association, so I'm a member of ISACA and ISA and InfoGuard, so every time I go to a meeting, guess what? CPEs. They will actually allow for board service. So I'm the secretary of the ISA chapter, so guess what? I get even more CPEs. Vendor presentations, which are always so much fun. Vendor wants me to come and give me a free meal and give me a dog and pony show, and I get CPEs too? Sign me up. Reading books and magazines, yep. Webinars, online presentations, podcasts, yep. Writing papers and presentations, yep. Surveys, feedback. The certification body says, hey, come and help us develop questions. More CPEs. Again, you need to check each organization because some will put limitations like, oh, you want to do book reviews? Great, but you're only allowed to have so many per year. Here's the thing also. We are here in November. I have already met my required CPEs probably in the middle of the year. But you know what? I am still putting in CPEs up until the end of the year because if I go over, guess what most of my orgs do? They roll over into next year. So at the beginning of the year, I don't start with 0. I might start with like 10 or 20. So that's how it works. Again, not to be a jerk, but if you're having problems getting CPEs, you're doing something wrong. Because most of the stuff you all should be doing all the time. Yeah, you shouldn't get like to the end of the year, you're like, oh my God, I don't have to see CPEs. I'm like, well, what the hell did you do the rest of the first part of the year? So auditing, yeah, they will audit you. They're random. Basically, you just have to show proof. And again, stop overthinking it. You all signed up here and you got a ticket. So if they say like, oh, did you come to this event? It's like, yeah, here you go. Here's my ticket for B-side Southwest Florida. That's my proof you were here. That's all you have to do. Me, if they go like, oh, well, I did a presentation. Here's the agenda. There's my name. I gave this presentation. They'll accept that. Yeah. So again, don't overthink it. Costs, preparation, books, classes. There's going to be like a little bit or shit ton of money, depending. Sorry. Testing fee is several $100s. And then what gets me is like you you spent the $100 to prepare, you spent the $100 to take the test, and then it's like, oh, and every year you need to pay a maintenance fee, and they're going, oh my God, I'm not gonna do that. Seriously, you spend all that money, get the cert, and you're gonna throw it away because you don't want to pay, $20, $40 a year. I'm sorry. That it's again, it's part of being in a profession that you have to do that. So CDE cost is going to vary. Honestly, this was free for me because I'm speaking. Again, that's another benefit of speaking. I get to come for free. But again, many certification bodies actually will provide you opportunities, to earn CPEs, which, hey, I'm paying them for maintenance and all this sort of stuff. Might as well give me free, stuff to get CPEs. So the main certification bodies are these 5: CompTIA, ISAC2, ISACA, EC Council Standards, GIAC. Hopefully you've heard of all of them. If you haven't, I'm shocked. But anyway, we'll start with CompTIA. They are a trader organization. They mainly do training and certifications. Now they actually have added certificates. So again, you need to keep that clear that certificate and certification are not the same. What I am concerned about with CompTIA is they recently were bought out by a private equity firm, and they're now being operated as a for-profit organization, which bothers me. Because CompTIA has been pretty much, the go-to for entry-level, no experience required certifications. They were pretty decent. So that does bother me. They do require continuing education, all that sort of stuff. It's pretty standard. Visa certs, you probably heard of Security Plus, Network Plus, CISA Plus, Pen Test. I'm not a pen tester, but I've heard good things about the Pen Test Plus. I'll just say that. There was the CASP. Now they've been renamed to the Security X. Got that right? Yeah. I would call it a halfway to CISSP. I do not call it an equivalent to CISSP. And anyone that just says that, I just kind of like look at them weird because I don't accept that. They are rolling out in February a new Secure AI Plus certification. I don't know much about it, so if you will think about it, an entry-level security AI certification, okay, it might be decent. Again, that's why I said I have to keep this thing updated. Yeah. And they have others. How good they are, they seem to be pretty decent by and large. They've gone into more what called their expert series. They only have these Data X, CloudNet X, and Secure X. They have some pathways of like, oh, we recommend you get this one and then get this one. Understand these are recommendations. There's no requirements. So nothing says that you have to get Network Plus before Security. There is no such thing. Okay. Honestly, I tell people don't bother spending money getting IT fundamentals or A+. That's for help desk people. I usually tell people, hey, getting into it, Network Plus, Security Plus, those are probably pretty good, and go from there as what you want to do. They do stackable certs. Okay, I don't really know if anyone really cares, but they have them. This is my concern that they're now for profit. So anyway, ISC2, if you're ever curious, that's what its actual name is. They're a certification body that has pretty much focused on IT certs, but now they have training. They also do certificates. They do events. They have local chapters. Depending on the certification, they require different levels of experience. The new CC is new in terms of it doesn't require any experience, which is unusual for them. So these are the ones that have been ordered from the highest to the lowest. So most people know the CISSP, which is meant for senior level people, experienced people. You have to have 5 years experience. So it is not meant for an entry level person. We're trying to explain to HR people to stop doing that. The next one are the concentrations, but now they split them out as separate certs. Cloud, which is really good. CGRC, which used to be CAP. It seems okay, but I'm kind of like on the fence if that's one I would ever get. Security software development is good. SSCP is like a mid-level certification between like I say, Security Plus and CISSP. The CC is new, entry level. It clearly they're trying to compete against the Security Plus, but I don't think it's got the recognition yet. I would think that with the name of IAC2 behind it, that may change. We'll see. This kind of get you, like I see these sort of charts about, okay, you're, a security engineer, security administrator, SSCP is better than, and then you move up, get the CISSP if you're a consultant, whatnot. And then, these the concentration to move into different areas. This is from their website. I don't know if it's still there. So ISACA, that used to be its name, and now they're just ISACA. I'm a member of ISACA, so I can be critical of them. Okay. ISACA is the IT audit people. They're not cybersecurity people, okay? But if you get into IT audits and controls, this is a good group to get part of. ISACA is weird in terms of you can be a member of ISACA and not have any of the certifications. You can get the certifications without being an ISACA member, but there's a benefit in being both in terms of I get access to research as an ISACA member and get discounts for use with my ISACA certifications. So be aware of that. And now I actually do some certificates as well. Most, I think most of them, there's a couple that don't require experience and kind of the same thing. So these are the certs they have. These have been kind of the traditional ones, these 4 or 5 here. This is a new one aimed at the SOC analyst that, as far as I believe, does not require any experience, nor these two, and I'll talk about these shortly. These 2 are brand new, and when I talk about oddballs, these are the first certifications I know of where you are required to have another certification to obtain them. So for the audit, you had to have the CISA from ISACA or be a certified public accountant or have the CIA certification for the internal audit system group. And this one, security management, you need to have either a CISSP or the CISA. So, and like I said, these are like, as in they were rolled out earlier this year. I'm considering those 2, but we'll see how that goes. They have 2 stackable certs. They have this one, which is basically you get these 4 certificates, and if you do so, you can then apply. You're not forced to get it. You can apply to get it as a certification. Of course, once you get it as a certification, guess what? It's going to expire. You need to do CPEs and maintenance fee and yada yada yada. So it's not an automatic thing. Same thing with this one. Earn these 5 certificates, and you can then ask for it. These 2 are meant for entry level people to make give them kind of an entry path into the field. EC Council. Okay. The certification body, they also do conferences and training. I think most people know them for only one of their certifications, and the rest maybe no. So I think most people know for CPH, and that's about it. They have some other ones, and I need probably to add, kind of throw out some of the ones they got rid of. They have a pen tester one and so forth. And there's also the CISO. I think for most people, they know for CPH, maybe CISO, and that's about it. And I really hate to be negative, and I'm gonna probably just leave it at that. There are concerns people have with EC Council. So I actually grabbed this from the website recently to show all the different certs that have in different groupings, and like the executive leadership, the specializations, the core, which they see in their CPH and C&D, and entry level. I honestly never really met anyone with any of their entry level. Usually the people I know have CPH and maybe the CISO, and the rest, I have never really met anyone with any of the rest. So I've seen some of these, like these career paths they have, like, oh, if you're gonna be a pen tester, you want to get these. If you want to be incident responder, get these. The one thing most people I know in this field don't get these. So okay. SANS GIAC, SANS Institute has a wonderful training classes, 2 4, 5, 6 days. I really like them. They're just freaking expensive. I'm sorry. You know, when I was getting them, I think they were like 3,000, now they're getting up to like 8,000, and there are ways around it. One, of course, is get your company to pay for it. The second is do something called work study. I recommend you take a look into that. You can ask me later about that. That's a wonderful way to really get them. I've got most of my certs that way. They're really, really, really good. I just wish they really weren't that expensive. And you can also get through the SANS Technology Institute, you can actually get a degree. And if you do it that way, that's yet another way to bring the cost down as well. They have a shit of certifications, and this is probably not even complete. Because they're always adding and whatnot. So basically, if they have a 5 or 6 day course and they have enough people, they can turn that into a certification. But sometimes they come on and they kind of like, oh, we're gonna shut this down, the certification. Like 2 of my certs, they basically shut down. Like the GLEG, which is the law one, which is really good, it's no longer available. And they also did a networking, an audit one, which is what I thought was really great. Yeah, the system network auditor, they want to stop that one, which is too bad. That again, a really great course.
The GC win as well, they're like on the fence about it.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
The law one might be back. They said the author passed away, that's why they.
Well, the law one, yeah, that I knew why, because when I took it, he had already passed away and they were using his recordings. Okay, so this is a new set of certs they have, which are called applied knowledge. These are not tied to classes. This is where you are able to show your stuff in a cyber live environment. And I look at it going like, okay, I don't think I can do any of those. So yeah, but these sound really, really good for those who are hands-on security type people. Take a look at them. Then they do a stackable cert, which I think are cool, which is this, a GSP and GSE, which you have to get the regular certifications and then some of the applied knowledge certs to get these. These stackable certs, I think, are impressive versus the CompTIA ones, which are like, whatever. So they have also various roadmaps, a lot of really good information. So I do encourage people to take a look at SANS and their offerings. Others, let me go through this because, yeah.
I would just make one comment about SANS.
Yeah.
My slides, they're open book, but you also
Yes,
can spend a tremendous amount of time creating your own
index.
table of contacts and
Yes.
indexes.
Yeah.
So it's just it sounds like it's pretty awesome because it's open book, but by the time you build your indexes, it's which can.
But the way they talk about it is that creating the index is part of your training and learning, that you have to really know the stuff.
It can make it or break you, but the
Yeah.
thing I'll tell you is you can't use somebody else's index.
No.
I think.
Got to develop your own. So let me go through the other ones, and I want to make sure you guys are aware of it. If you're a pen tester, you better know about offensive security. These are the guys that create Kali Linux, and they have their own certifications, which are really great. They did something recent, which I think is a little bit strange, with their OSCP. They actually have 2 versions. There's actually, when you get the OSCP, you actually get two certifications. You get OSCP and OSCP Plus, which expires. And I think what they're trying to do, they're trying to create kind of a 17024 similar certification to kind of appease government bodies who want an expiring certification and whatnot. You know, I think that's what they're attempting to do. Because again, the thing with 17024 is if your certification 17024, then the government is going to say, oh, we approve that certification. We're going to send our people to it. We're going to require it for jobs. And that's why companies, that's why organizations make sure their certs are certified. So, but I hear a lot of good things because of the hands-on environment to show that you can do a pen test. Hack the Box, I've been hearing more and more in the same vein, that they are very good and are really good if you're a pen tester. I'm not a pen tester, so I'm more going by the people I know who are and who I rely on their points. This is a new group I've heard about, and they're aimed at people in the federal government space who do security. I mean, they're DoD approved and so forth. So I assume they're pretty decent, but this is not my space. But I want to make sure a lot of these are things that I know about, and I just want to make sure people are aware of them. If physical security is more your bag, you should be familiar with ASIS International, which is more for the people who are like chief security officers, the physical security people and so forth. They have their own set of certifications and so forth. I usually run into these people when I go to InfoGuard meetings. Even though I have to be, I'm responsible for prison security too at my company, but it's just, that's about it, we set in mind. IADP, it used to be that, these are your privacy people, which I am, I'm a member of IADP. And so they got in their privacy, AI governance and stuff like that. They have local chapters, they have certifications. With this, you have to be basically either be a member or pay a maintenance fee. These are certs they have all around privacy. Because of the world of privacy, every freaking company has their own privacy regulations. Guess what? They have 5 different certifications because of that. Oh my God. I'm planning on getting the one for US because that's all I care about. And probably the management one. They also have this nice one, which is an AI governance certification, which I'm thinking about as well. So be aware that I will talk about more AI certs because that's become a big thing. If disaster recovery is your bag, this is the group you want to take a look at. And they have certifications. Some people I know who that's a big part of their job. They do this. So they have a bunch of certifications. I tell people, look, just get the basic one, certified business continuity professional, and call it a day. Unless you need to get the others. If identity management is your bag, there's a group for that too, and they have certifications. I got a couple. You have to pay a maintenance fee and things like that. So they have a lot of different certs. They're all very specialized. So it's like, oh, you need to worry about governance. They got that, technology, access management and so forth. So there's specialized certs in identity and access management. And yes, people do focus on just that as their job. I have some people I know that's all they do is identity access management. That boggles my mind. Yeah, that's part of my job, but it's like it's not my whole job. But this is not IT, but project management. If you want to do project management, you need to be aware of PMI. They're pretty much the professional association. They set down the standard, which is called the PMBOK, which you can pick up. And if you want to get this, you need to have experience in doing project management to get it. That is how it works. I almost got it. Almost got the PMP, and it's the only one I failed to get. And there's been times where it's like, I wish I had gotten it, and there's been times where I'll be honest, where I'm kind of glad I did. Ask me later why I say that. But basically, if you want to get into this, you want to get the PMP. They actually have a new one, which is this guy here, which is managing AI when it comes to projects. Okay, that's a new one. And when I say new, I mean as in the last 6 months new. There's various Google career certificates. I see the freaking TV ads where like, oh, I got this Google career certificate and I got this job and I'm like, that just sounds like snake oil. I'm sorry. That they're out there. I don't know how good they are in the field. So Cloud Security Alliance, if cloud is your thing, you should be aware of CSA and their certificates. They do not do certifications, they do certificates, but what they did do, which I thought was great, was for the CCSP, they actually teamed up with ISC2, which I think is great. And then for their cloud audit certificate, they teamed up with ISACA. This actually comes from ISACA, not CSA, but they work together, which to me, that's a good thing. And then this is brand new, as in the last month this came out. This is a trusted AI safety expert, which they developed with Northeastern University. And I talked to a guy who got it, who actually helped develop it, and that one looks. I looked at the outline. That looked pretty interesting. So, cloud, Azure, AWS, GCP, they all have different levels of certification or certificates and whatnot. So again, if cloud is what you want to be dealing with, take a look at it and figure out what you want. At one point, I was looking to get at least the security level certs, and then of course I moved and we don't do cloud, and I get other things I need to spend my time on. But healthcare, it's kind of annoying. I do stuff in healthcare that we're HIPAA compliant, but it's kind of crazy against these two organizations, HIMSS and AHIMA. I always have to make sure I'm not getting them confused, because like basically like one is from the IT people from healthcare, the other one's from the billing and coding people in healthcare, and I someone get them confused. But CompTIA had a certification, they dropped it. The CISSP was dropped, which I thought was great. These two guys have certs, but I've looked at them, I'm like, it's not quite the same, and I don't really like them, and so, but I want to make sure people are aware of it. So if healthcare is a big part of what you do, take a look at these two organizations and their certification and see if it meets what you're looking for. So frameworks, if you're into various frameworks, ITIL, CMC, 27001, yada, 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 there is a lot of training and certifications tied to it. More than what I cover, what I tell people is, look, if this is important to you, at a minimum, look at getting like a foundational certificate. And beyond that, it's going to depend on how important it is in your job, and hey, try to get your company to pay for it rather than you. So AI. AI is gotten crazy. So there's these two groups I came across, none of them having anything that are related to us. So, but just be aware of it. Then there's this group, the AI certs group, which has a boatload of certifications in various grouping and so forth. But these are the ones I pulled out that are the security related ones. So they claim that their security level 1 is equivalent to security plus, and their level 3 is equivalent to CISSP. I guess I just don't know how, because these are like, we're talking about super brand new, as in like the last year or two. So I'm not sure how well they're recognized in the industry. So it's more of a want to make sure you are aware of it. This is a good color. We hear about blue team and red team, but guess what, guys? There's other teams. I'm white team. Okay. I probably would have been considered yellow team at one time. That's the article this is from, where he goes explains all these, because I'm so tired of when I talk to people coming into cybersecurity and like, oh, I want to get into cybersecurity, and they're like, doing what? And they're like, I want to be do cybersecurity, and they need to understand this. And of course, what you want to do in cybersecurity is going to tell you what certifications you should be going for. This is my gentleman. One, you want to get a generalist cert. To me, a generalist cert is security plus, GSEC, CC, CISSP, as the case may be. That's a generalist cert. And then you get certs that tie into your specialty, whatever that specialty is. The certs that I got are important to me for what I do. I'm not a pen tester, so I don't have pen test certs. I'm not a SOC analyst, so I don't have things related to that. I'm not a threat analyst. But if that's what you do, those are what you should be pursuing. If I was looking at you and your resume, like I'm hiring you to be a pen tester, and it's like, you don't have any pen test certs. That's being disconcerting. So I also feel that there's different levels in terms of like there's junior level certs, there's senior level certs. If you're a junior level person, I expect you to have junior level cert. If you're a senior level, I expect to see senior level certs. I don't have any CompTIA certs. That's not a slam on CompTIA. I'm a senior level person. I've been in the field for 20 freaking years. I'm not going to go get a CompTIA cert. Okay. But if you come to me and you're a 20-year veteran and all you've got is security plus, I'm going to be like, you've been in this field for 20 years and you never got the CISSP. Okay. Different groups have different charts to help you out. Easy counseling they had one, I think showed you. Company used to have one, I can't seem to find it, and Sands has one. So this is the chart that company used to have on their website, which is really great because they're like saying, hey, InfoSec, here's the expert, here's the advanced, here's the intermediate, and they don't have this on their website anymore. I'm glad I saved it, so yeah, please take a picture of it. You might hear the DoD list, which is a list from the department that says, okay, for certain jobs, we would like to have them have certain cert. This has been, and because the DoD has done this, has kind of blessed these certs, then guess what? Other federal agencies have gone with that list, and state agencies and so forth. So it's like, if you're on the list, you got a cachet. So they kind of, these are the ones that I've seen in the past approved, like some from CompTIA, EC Council, ISACA, IC2 SANS. I think the list has kind of changed over the years, and now it's more like a database. You have to look it up, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. I like this. This is what they used to have. Was a nice chart. It's like, okay, are you level 1, 2, 3? Are you technical management and so forth? They kind of threw this out, but there is a list online that you can look it up. So quickly, my recommendations, those what I see as the foundational, your SOC analyst, those two, auditing, of course, one of them now is mechanic GIAC, forensics, incident handling, BCDR, I'm going to talk about software management, GRC healthcare, I'm not quite sure about that anymore. Pen testing, the ones basically from offensive, SANS, and hack the box, red teamer, SOC analyst. If you're not familiar with this chart, this is a great roadmap. Want to take a snapshot of the link. It hasn't been updated in about over a year with the unfortunate this thing. Well, she has gone through and like, okay, here's security operations, here's your pen testing, forensics, incident handling, security risk management, and the GRC and so forth, and it is overwhelming, and so
Go back out one more after that.
yeah. So it's an overwhelming list. What I also don't like is the organizations that pick names very similar to other names. Okay, so each council loves to put like a vertical bar in their name. Okay, and they're sort of like a C bar EH. There's another organization that does something similar, but instead of a bar, they put an open parentheses. And I'm like, what are you doing? Are you trying to trick people or something? That's really skeezy to me. But anyway, that's the QR code to tell the organizer how wonderful I am, and I should get a raise for coming here, and yada yada yada. So got about 5 minutes until 3 o'clock. Of course, if you need to leave to go to another session, please do so. If you got questions, please ask. I will be here, of course, to the end of the session at the end of the day. So if you want to talk to me afterwards, feel free to do so. I saw a hand raised, so ask away.
So it's coming from someone who actually used to work for ISACA. You mentioned the SSCP.
Thank you,
So
sir.
have you seen anyone actually have that as a requirement?
I think I've seen it in job requirements, yes.
Because I have
Not as a sole requirement, but I've seen it included in the list of required jobs.
I've never seen it, but
It's just rare, but yeah, I'll agree.
the SSCP is pretty much the CISSP without any of the management stuff.
Yeah.
So all the technical stuff.
It's like a halfway.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have both, so
I never hated that one.
I didn't hate it. I just
more with it.
But it was a weird spot because it wasn't.
no
entry level.
one was actually asking for it.
Yeah, and you had to have experience around.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I got that over the summer.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah. Then honestly, you're working in a business organization in another year, understanding